Sarah Thompson was 52 when the email arrived at 9:17 a.m. on a Tuesday in late October. The subject line read simply, "Organizational Update, Engineering Leadership." She opened it while standing at the kitchen island, still in her navy blazer and the same black flats she'd worn since 2018 because they were comfortable and nobody noticed shoes in video calls anymore. The body was 3 paragraphs long, polite, corporate, bloodless. NeuralNet was evolving its leadership structure to better align with our next phase of hypergrowth. A new VP of engineering had been appointed. His name was Ethan Caldwell. He was 30. The message thanked Sarah for her many contributions over the past 11 years and invited her to a 2 p.m. transition meeting with HR. She read it twice. Then she set the phone face down on the granite countertop so hard the screen cracked in one thin diagonal line. She did not cry. Not yet. Instead, she walked to the garage, got into the charcoal Prius she had bought used in 2020 because it felt responsible, and drove. Not toward the office in Mountain View. Not toward home in Menlo Park. She took 280 south until it became 85. Then kept going until the hills opened up and the traffic thinned and she could finally breathe without tasting recycled office air. She pulled into a turnout near Woodside, killed the engine, and sat listening to the wind move through the live oaks. Her phone kept buzzing, Slack pings, texts from colleagues who had seen the announcement, a calendar invite for the HR call she had already decided to skip. She opened LinkedIn instead. Her profile still said VP Engineering NeuralNet, because nobody had bothered to remove it yet. She stared at the headline for a long minute, then started typing. The post went live at 10:42 a.m. Today I learned I no longer have a job at NeuralNet. The official reason is structural evolution. The real reason is that I turned 52 in August, and the company decided it needed younger leadership with more energy. I have spent 27 years in this industry, building products that reached hundreds of millions of users, mentoring teams through 3 recessions, shipping code at 3 a.m. while my kids were asleep, negotiating with VCs who called me mom in pitch meetings. Today that history became a liability. If you are a woman over 40 in tech and you have ever been told you are not a culture fit or lacking hunger or too process-oriented, know that you are not crazy. The bias is real and it is expensive. I am not retiring. I am not fading. I am starting something new. If you are a woman founder, any age, any stage, and you are tired of being underestimated, message me. I want to see your deck. I want to hear your story. Let's build something that cannot be ignored. She hit post and turned the phone off. By the time she got home at 1:30 p.m., the post had 1,200 likes, 400 comments, and 17 direct messages. Tom was waiting in the living room. He had already read it. He did not ask how she was. He simply opened his arms. She walked into them and let herself shake for the first time since the email. That night she could not sleep. She sat at the kitchen table with her cracked phone and a yellow legal pad. By 4 a.m. she had a name. Bloom Collective. A tagline. Helping underestimated women founders turn survival into scale. A rough mission. Provide honest feedback, tactical coaching, warm introductions, and zero bullshit to women who are building companies in a world that still pretends merit is gender blind and age neutral. The first mentee found her the next morning. Aisha Khan, 27, San Francisco. Her message was short. I read your post at 2 a.m. in my car outside my apartment because I couldn't stop crying inside. I've been rejected by 39 investors in 16 months. My app is for culturally competent mental health support for South Asian women. They say the market is too small. They say I'm too intense. I have $6,400 left in runway. My co-founder left last month. If you're serious about looking at decks, here's mine. Even if you tell me to shut it down, I'd rather hear it from someone who's been in the rooms I'm trying to get into. Sarah opened the deck on her laptop at 7:15 a.m. It was 22 slides. The problem statement wandered. The traction numbers were modest. The design was clean but amateur. But the personal story on slide 4, about Aisha's cousin who died by suicide after being told therapy was not for our family, hit like a fist. Sarah felt something shift inside her chest. The same feeling she used to get right before pushing a major release live. She spent 3 hours marking up the deck in Google Slides comments. No fluff. Specific line-by-line notes. This slide says nothing. Replace with one killer stat. Your ask is buried. Move it to slide 8. Stop apologizing in the tone. You are not asking for charity. You are offering a solution. At the end she added a private note. This is messy but it is real. That matters more than polish right now. Zoom at 4 p.m. Aisha accepted in 30 seconds. The call lasted 2 hours and 40 minutes. Aisha cried twice. Sarah did not sugarcoat anything, but she also did not let Aisha spiral. When they hung up, Sarah felt lighter than she had in months. Over the next 3 weeks the messages kept coming. Priya Patel, 29, Seattle, FinTech for low-income immigrants. Jordan Brooks, 26, Oakland, AI-powered career coaching for Black women. Lena Morales, 34, Austin, supply chain software for small farms. Each deck arrived with its own scars, racism in pitch rooms, sexism in term sheets, family members asking why they didn't just get a normal job. Sarah read every one. She gave feedback to as many as she could. She started a private Slack group called Bloom Beta. 12 women joined in the first month. She rented a small conference room in a co-working space in Redwood City every Saturday morning. Exposed brick, bad coffee, folding tables. 15 women showed up for the first session. They ranged in age from 24 to 58. Some had raised 7-figure rounds. Others had never pitched before. Sarah stood at the front without slides. I'm not here to teach you how to code better or design prettier logos, she said. You already know that. I'm here to teach you how to survive the rooms that will try to make you small. How to read the subtext when a VC says, "We love the mission but the TAM is unclear." How to walk away from a bad term sheet even when your bank account is screaming. How to keep going when your own mother asks why you're still playing startup at 35. I've been in those rooms. I lost the last one, but I'm not losing this one. And neither are you. They worked in small groups. They practiced pitches. They role-played tough questions. Sarah brought in guest speakers, former VCs who had left the industry because they were tired of the game, lawyers who specialized in startup financing, women who had sold companies and were now angel investors. Every session ended with a circle where people shared one win and one fear. There were tears. There was laughter. There was rage. There was hope. 6 months later Aisha raised $1.8 million. The lead investor was a woman who had read Sarah's LinkedIn post and reached out. Priya got into Y Combinator. Jordan's app hit 200,000 downloads after a viral TikTok campaign Sarah had helped brainstorm. Lena closed a government contract that kept her alive for another 18 months. Sarah burned through her severance and half her savings. Tom never complained. He cooked dinner every night she came home late. He listened when she vented about a mentee who ghosted after taking feedback personally. He celebrated every win like it was his own. The collective grew. They moved to a permanent office in Oakland, second floor above a taqueria, windows that looked out on the port cranes and the bay. They hired a part-time operations manager, a 29-year-old named Maya who had been laid off from Twitter the year before. They launched a newsletter. They started a small angel fund seeded with donations from alums who had exits. They called it the Second Act Fund. Grants of $25,000 to $100,000 for women founders over 40 who were restarting after corporate exile or life interruptions. Not everything worked. One cohort lost 3 founders to burnout. Another had a public Twitter fight when a mentee accused the group of favoring polished pitches over raw ones. Sarah mediated for hours. She apologized where she needed to. She changed the curriculum. She kept going. 2 years after the day she walked out of NeuralNet, Bloom Collective held its first showcase in a converted warehouse in West Oakland. String lights hung from the rafters. Food trucks lined the street, tacos, arepas, vegan barbecue. 300 people came. Founders, investors, journalists, partners, family members. Aisha took the stage last. She wore a deep green sari blouse and jeans. She looked out at the crowd and smiled the way only someone who has almost quit and then didn't can smile. I almost deleted my app 3 times, she said. Each time I opened my email and found another round of feedback from Sarah. Brutal, honest, kind feedback. She never told me it would be easy. She told me it would be worth it. Tonight I'm announcing that Sahara Health has crossed 1 million active users. We just closed our Series A at 18 million. And we are launching the Sarah Thompson Second Act Fellowship, Full funding for 10 founders over 40 every year, in perpetuity. The room exploded. Sarah stood at the back near the bar, holding a plastic cup of sparkling water. Tom found her there. He slipped his hand into hers. "You did it," he whispered. She shook her head. "They did it." Later that night, after the last guest left and the lights came down, Sarah walked outside alone. The air smelled of salt and diesel impossibility. She looked up at the Oakland sky, orange from the port lights, no stars visible. She thought about the girl she had been at 25, coding in a basement apartment in Palo Alto, believing the industry would reward hard work forever. She thought about the woman she was now, gray streaks in her hair, laugh lines around her eyes, a body that ached after long days but still showed up. She did not feel young again. She felt something better. She felt necessary. A text buzzed on her phone. A new applicant. 23 years old. First-generation college graduate. Building an app for mental health support in rural communities. "I saw your story," the message read. "I'm scared but I'm ready. Can you help?" Sarah typed back one word. "Yes." She slipped the phone into her pocket and started walking toward the car where Tom waited. The second act was not quieter or softer or smaller. It was louder. It was wider. It was hers. And it was just beginning.